The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Niccolò Machiavelli. In the shadowed corridors of power, where decisions shape empires and whispers can incite war, trust is not just a rare currency. It's a dangerous gamble. To trust blindly, as Machiavelli warns us, is to surrender the throne of your own fate. In this video, we dive into the chilling depths of one of the most misunderstood philosophers in history. We expose the raw, unfiltered truths about human nature that most are too afraid to face. What did Machiavelli really mean when he said that it is better to be feared than loved? Why did he insist that appearances matter more than morality? And most importantly, why did he believe trust is the ultimate weakness? The illusion of trust. Trust, as society portrays it, is the foundation of love, leadership, and loyalty. But Machiavelli, writing in the turbulent political chaos of Renaissance Italy, saw trust for what it really was, an illusion of safety in a world that feeds on ambition and betrayal. The man who trusts his allies without proof is the same man who one day finds a dagger in his back. The prince who believes in eternal loyalty is the same prince who loses his crown. Machiavelli wasn't cynical. He was observant. He watched dukes, kings, and even popes fall, not because they were weak, but because they believed someone would never betray them. He didn't say, never trust. He said, trust with suspicion. Test constantly. Prepare always. The facade of virtue. One of Machiavelli's most famous assertions is this: it is not necessary for a prince to have all the virtuous qualities, but it is very necessary to appear to have them. He understood what few today are willing to admit. People don't want truth. They want the appearance of truth. They don't want the honest man. They want the man who looks honest. And when it comes to trust, that truth becomes lethal. Because many are fooled by smiles, by soft words, by the image of kindness. But Machiavelli warns, the most dangerous man is the one who wears the mask of virtue while wielding the knife of ambition. People trust too quickly because they want to believe others are like them. But most people, even the kind ones, act out of self-interest. Machiavelli simply removes the veil and forces us to confront this disturbing fact. The strategy of betrayal. In The Prince, Machiavelli praises Cesare Borgia, a ruthless yet brilliant tactician who used betrayal as a tool. Not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. He lured his enemies with promises. He made them feel safe. And when the time was right, he struck decisively without remorse. Not because he was evil, but because trusting them would have meant death. This wasn't cruelty, it was calculus. Machiavelli isn't teaching you to be treacherous. He's teaching you to expect treachery. The man who is surprised by betrayal has failed to understand human nature. Why trust fails in leadership? Modern men think leadership is about being liked, about loyalty, about connection. But Machiavelli's view is colder and far more accurate. It is much safer to be feared than loved, if one must choose. Because love fades, loyalty breaks, but fear endures. Fear restrains action. Fear creates hesitation. And in moments of power, a man who hesitates is a man who falls. This doesn't mean you must be cruel. It means you must be calculating. He knew that being loved makes you vulnerable to the emotional manipulations of others. But fear, when balanced with respect, creates control. Control leads to power. Power protects you from betrayal. Human nature is predictable. Machiavelli's brilliance wasn't in his cruelty. It was in his understanding of human nature. He saw people for what they were, not what they pretended to be. Most people are driven by fear, desire, envy, pride. And in moments of stress, they abandon principle and pursue self-interest. This doesn't make them evil. It makes them predictable. The man who builds his empire on trust alone is the man who watches it burn for betrayal. But the man who builds his empire on anticipation of betrayal, on strategy, on psychology, he's the man who lasts. Modern application, why this still matters. You don't have to rule Florence to apply Machiavellian truth. Look at business. Partnerships form and break over greed. Friends become competitors overnight. Look at relationships. Promises of love turn cold. People you thought would never hurt you change when their desires shift. Machiavelli's greatest message? Don't build your life expecting loyalty. Build it expecting weakness. And design your moves accordingly. Does this make you a manipulator? No. It makes you aware. It gives you an edge in a world where most are asleep. The Mask and the Man. One of Machiavelli's most disturbing truths is this. The man who always tells the truth is not noble. He's a fool, because people don't want the truth. They want comfort. They want alignment. They want someone to confirm their reality, not disrupt it. Machiavelli advises rulers, and by extension, men, to learn the art of deception. Not to harm, but to protect, to influence, to navigate the dangerous landscape of human behavior. It's not about lying maliciously. It's about understanding that truth, when exposed too nakedly, can be a weapon used against you. Control perception. Maintain mystery. Guard your intentions. When you must trust, test it. Machiavelli wasn't paranoid. He knew that alliances are sometimes necessary, but he never assumed they were real unless tested. Test loyalty under pressure. Observe who stands beside you when the storm arrives. Watch how people act when they gain power or when they have nothing to lose, because that is when the truth of a person is revealed. The greatest Machiavellian leaders weren't antisocial loners. They were social masters who knew when to pull close and when to cut ties. Pain is the price of naivete. The pain of betrayal is felt most by the naive. The man who believed in eternal brotherhood. The one who ignored the warning signs. Machiavelli teaches you to see clearly, not romantically. He asks you to stop wishing the world were fair, and instead, to dominate it as it is. This isn't cold. It's empowering, because when you stop expecting loyalty from the disloyal, you stop being hurt by it. You become immune. You become untouchable. Machiavelli and stoicism, cold clarity. Many believe stoicism and Machiavellianism are opposed, but there is alignment. Both embrace control, realism, self-discipline. Both prepare for hardship. Both teach that the world is not kind, but that you can thrive within it if you learn how to master your mind and motives. The Stoic says, control your reaction. The Machiavellian says, control the perception. Together, they form an unshakable philosophy. See things as they are. Act with strategy. Speak with purpose. Trust only what is tested. Conclusion. Rise above or fall naively. You don't have to become ruthless, but you must stop being blind. To elevate every day, you must stop expecting loyalty from those who only move for advantage. You must stop trusting words over behavior. You must stop letting emotions decide who stays in your life. Machiavelli wasn't telling us to abandon morals. He was telling us to arm them, protect them, fortify them, through awareness, through strategy, through calculated control. Because in the end, those who survive, those who lead, those who command respect, are not those who trusted too much. They are the ones who saw clearly and acted without illusion.